What's up, everybody? This is Justin Flinner coming to you live from Northern Virginia with the Justin Flinner podcast by My Metro Medicine. Today's podcast is on the topic, I know Kung Fu. If you saw the movie The Matrix, which I also referenced in one of my previous podcasts, not quite sure why it keeps coming up, but it does. It's got some great stuff. Keanu Reeves, or Neo in the movie, is laying in a chair. They plug something into the back of his head, then all of a sudden, within seconds, he is programmed with nearly every form of martial art that ever existed. And then he wakes up, they unplug him, and the first thing he says is, I know Kung Fu. And Morpheus says, show me. And then they go off and they fight in the studio. Great scene in the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. So the phrase, I know Kung Fu. Most people think of Kung Fu as being a style of martial art that comes from China, maybe together with Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen, all the various martial artists that have come from China. Immediately they might think, oh yeah, Kung Fu equals China, equals Bruce Lee, equals all these other guys, which equals all these great movies that have come from Chinese culture. Sure. It can be a martial art, just like Taekwondo, Karate, any other style of martial art that comes from across the world. Capoeira, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, you name it. But the truth is, Kung Fu, or pronounced in Chinese, Gong Fu, actually has nothing to do and no connection with martial arts. Specifically, the two words Gong and Fu, or Kung and Fu, as we know them. Gong, the first one, means work or effort. The second word, Fu, is in relation to the concept of time. So think about that. You have work or effort and time. If you put those two elements together efficiently, and you apply them to any art or any practice or any profession in life, you get amazing results. Work and time. You put in the work, you put in the time, you're going to get a good result, most likely. So, Kung Fu is a phrase that is often connected to martial arts because those who practice it are often told, wow, they have good Kung Fu. They have a good level of effort because they put in so much time. They have a great result. The same can be said for, say, an artist or someone who sculpts things. If they produce beautiful works of art, and then all kinds of people from across the world come to see it, those individuals can call that artist a person who has Kung Fu. If you're an acupuncturist, like I am myself, or any kind of health practitioner, you put in the time, you put in the effort, your patients see great results, then you, yourself, also have Kung Fu. And if you really want to play with the phrase, you might actually be able to say, feel free to say it right now, I know Kung Fu. So in a sense, that actually applies. I could actually say that. Why? Because I'm a martial artist as well, but also because I have put in the time, I have put in the effort. Now, it does not mean that you have to be a master at what you do. It just means you have to dedicate yourself to the practice that you are passionate about. You have to dedicate yourself to what you believe that is something that can make a difference in the world because you have known and, well, you have understood, rather, that it has made a difference in your life. And you decide that I want to use this to make a difference in other people's lives. So day in and day out, from morning to night, you dedicate yourself to the practice that you are so passionate about, like I am sitting here right now talking with you. I don't have notes in front of me. I don't have a plan. I don't have an outline. I'm speaking straight from the top of my head, based off of the knowledge that I have gained over the years through my experience in martial arts, Chinese medicine, Oriental medicine, the various fields that I have worked in, the people I have interacted with, those who have taught me, those who I have learned from, those who I have taught, and those who have learned from me. I have gained a level of knowledge that I feel confident right now that I can share it with you. Now, it does not mean that I believe personally that I know everything there is to know about what I am talking about. So, 功夫. I have reached a level of 功夫that I know personally inside of myself, that I have discovered the potential of what it is that I truly believe in and practice and, in a sense, preach or teach to those who come to learn from me, or pay to learn from me, or pay to have treatments by me. So it does not require a level of mastery. We do not have to call you. So the other phrase, or not phrase, but the other title is Sifu or Shifu, which is commonly used for someone who is really good at good at something. So it could be a bus driver. It could be a store owner or a cook. It could be a martial artist. It could be the red panda in the movie Kung Fu Panda, who they call Sifu, or I think they actually say Shifu. So to have Kung Fu or Kung Fu in anything in your life, don't worry, you do not have to be a master at something. You do not have to be, so if we use the example of sports, you don't have to be in the NBA to be considered a master. Well, they are masters at what they do because they've reached the point in their career as to where they are. They've reached the top. However, that does not mean that that's the place that you have to be in order to say that you have Kung Fu. You have used the time and the effort. Everyone is using the time and the effort. Some more, some less. But it does not require mastery. It does not require you to be the absolute best at what you are doing. It requires you to give your best at what you want to do. Your passion, what it is that you truly believe. So in a sense, Kung Fu is the road to wisdom. I had a previous podcast last week about lots to learn. We talked about knowledge. We talked about the superficial level of knowledge versus a deep level of knowledge and how those two contrast and also how they relate to each other. If you have Kung Fu, if you use your time efficiently, and you apply as much effort as humanly possible or as individually as possible, because we all have different levels of effort that we can apply to what it is that we do and what we're passionate about. If you put those two things together, you will understand on such a deep level what it is that you are passionate about. In my case, Oriental medicine, martial arts, helping people to live a life of fulfillment, a life that they are truly happy with what they are doing because they know they have made a difference in themselves, and it is time to make a difference in other people's lives. I teach all kinds of classes throughout the week. I teach classes on Oriental medicine. I teach classes on Taiji. I teach classes in martial arts. In a way, I guess I could consider these podcasts a form of teaching, but not just for you, but also for myself. I learn a lot of things by doing these as well, by sharing the information and getting your feedback at the same time. But by teaching, I know that by doing so, that number one, I know that I can open doors for people who are learning from me. Now, the phrase that goes along with that is the teacher opens the door and the student walks through. So it is up to them to take the responsibility, take the knowledge that I have passed on to them, and use it in a way that is not confounded by the principles or the quote-unquote rules that might come with it, but to use it and adapt it in a way that works for them and for the situations they come across in their life. Time and effort is not about just right now. Time and effort change constantly. So at this moment in time, the amount of effort you put into something will be different than the amount of effort that you put in on the same topic a year from now. Why? Because hopefully by that time you will have learned something and your level of Kung Fu has enhanced, has grown, has surpassed what it was the prior year. Kung Fu is ongoing. Kung Fu, even if you apply it to martial arts, you are always learning. Any field of work, any field of study, any stage of life, you are always learning, you are always growing. If you apply this principle of applying as much effort into the amount of time that you have dedicated to what it is that you are doing now and from now on, your level of Kung Fu will be that, at some point, a level of mastery. And you might be able to be called Shifu. So there's another phrase that comes along with martial arts that can be applied in any situation. You don't practice for one day, you know. You don't practice for 2 days, your teacher knows. And if you don't practice for 3 days, everybody knows. So if you don't put in the effort every single day for as much time as possible, if you don't live what it is that you are passionate about, because ultimately that's what Kung Fu is all about. You don't just work. You don't just put in a ton of effort and drive yourself into the ground and cause yourself to burn out over time because you work so hard at what you do. If you're constantly doing that, perhaps there's a reason. Maybe you're trying to prove yourself to someone or maybe even to yourself. But if you actually do it in the way that it is designed, it will be an effortless transformation for you to become a master at your craft, to become the top, to become the absolute best at what you do, because you will never be able to do what it is others who have mastered the same craft can do. It is impossible. It is an unreachable goal. Why? Because you're not aiming for something that you are capable of. You're aiming at something that they were capable of. So your effort is your own individual effort. And the amount of time that you put into it is completely up to you. So look at the results of your accomplishments in life. Are you satisfied with them? If you are not, re-examine how you use your time and re-examine exactly how much effort you have put in to use during that time. Kung Fu has nothing to do with martial arts per se. It can be related to any field, any stage. It can be related to any style of martial arts, any field of work, any field of study. Do you know Kung Fu? Like Neo does in the movie The Matrix? I can say that I do, with confidence. And I hope that you can do the same. If you can't now, you will. Heed my words. If you put into practice what I just discussed, you will reach a level of Kung Fu, a good level of Kung Fu, and perhaps one day even a level of mastery. But even mastery is not the end. It is a new beginning to a new level of Kung Fu. Don't hold back. Give everything that you possibly can and give it now. And keep giving without any expectation of something in return. That is the only way, and I mean it, it is the only way that you will reach a level of Gongfu. Because then, at that point, you will be able to live what it is that you have put in the time and effort for. You will understand what it means to be passionate about something, because at that point, it will be effortless. I can guarantee it. So start telling yourself that you know Gongfu, because now you do. It's just a matter of you achieving the level that you dream of. So starting now, put in the effort. Don't waste time. There is none to waste. That's our topic for this month as well, which is conserve your breath, conserve your energy, and conserve your time. Because those are the three things that you do not want to waste in your life. Especially if you want to know Kung Fu. That's it for this podcast, everyone. This is Justin Flinner coming to you live from Northern Virginia with the Justin Flinner Podcast by My Metro Medicine. If you have any feedback or any questions or any ideas about topics you want me to discuss, please feel free to email me at any time at jflinner@mymetromedicine.com. Hit me up anytime on social media, email, phone, you name it. Just visit me at mymetromedicine.com. You can find me at My Metro Medicine on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. We're all over the place. I really hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I look forward to the next one. Have an awesome day. I'll see you.